sorry. I didn't see you there. I want to talk to you today, folks. It's coming that time of year again. We need to get our focus on keeping our instruments humidified. Steve Harris posted a video a while back, and he mentioned a lot of things that you can use to humidify your instruments. And I thought, you know, it's a good time to make people aware of this. It's coming, winter time's coming again. It's going to be cold. We're going to be firing up our furnaces and our wood stoves or coal stoves or whatever you use to provide heat with, and it dries the place. Unless you have a humidifier running, man, it dries everything out. And in fact, I've showed you this before. I'm going to show it to you again since I have this guitar here. This crack all the way down the back of this guitar. Maybe that light's in our favor. I was trying to get the glare out of it, but maybe with the glare in it you can see it better. There, you can see the crack right there, and it runs all the way up. See it? Someone has tried to repair it. They got glue all over the finish, and it's just a really crappy job. But I left it alone because it's holding, and the guitar sounds pretty good, and I got enough work right now. But folks, this is what happens to your guitar if it dries out. And over time, you know, it happens so slowly every day. You may play that guitar every day, but you know, and that can happen right before your very eyes and you not even see it. So it's really, really important that you keep your instruments humidified, especially in the winter time. They require it all the time. I mean, you know, people say, when should I humidify my guitar or my instrument? All the time. You should monitor the humidity all the time, and you know, do whatever you got to do to get it up or get it down, whichever it needs. But that's what can happen right there, folks. This is a Blue Ridge BR160, I'm sorry, and it's a good sounding guitar. It's still a nice guitar, and like I say, someday maybe that'll come apart and I'll get to fix it or work on it. But right now it's holding okay, and I'm going to leave it alone because it really sounds good with strings. These strings are ancient. So hold on, and let me reposition the camera and get rid of the guitar, and I'll show you a few things that I use. Well, a lot of things I use, because I have them in my cases, all my cases, all year around. So hold on, I'll show you that stuff, show you what I'm talking about. Hold on. Well, it's good to see you cats again, as always. And like I say, I'm going to show you some humidifiers that I use myself, and I believe are the better ones that are on the market today. There's some crappy humidifiers out there. I'm not going to tell you the names of those ones if they're not in what I'm going to show you right now. They're shit, in my opinion. So I guess I'll start with I'll start with my favorite ones, Dampets. These are, you can get them all different sizes, but all they are is just like a rubber hose with a sponge inside of it. They got a little clip up here on the ends, and that clip is to clip onto this string. Okay, well, first you wet these, soak them soaking wet, and then squeeze the excess water out of them, wipe them off, get them dry. You don't want to put them in your guitar wet. And then clip the clips into this little hoop. Okay, you shove these down in the hole of the guitar, and then of course they're hooked to the string. Put this over the sound hole, and leave those in there wet, very wet, you know, but not dripping wet or anything like that. Put this over the sound hole. This also has a really crappy hydrometer on it. If you can see that. I don't know if you can see it or not. You can study it for yourself and try, I guess. But this is supposed to tell you the humidification inside of your instrument. I don't think it's very accurate. I don't use it. I'll show you what I do use in a few minutes. But anyways, yeah, you get one of these with every one of these that you buy. And you can put a whole bunch of them on there. It's a good idea to do that if your guitar is really dried out and really needs moisture bad. You can, you know, put 8 of them in there if that's what it takes to get it humidified properly and get that up. You know, you want to humidify the inside as well as the outside, and a lot of people, you know, kind of overlook that. They maybe put the humidifiers in their case and humidify the outside okay, the inside never gets any. And you really need to humidify them both, and we'll get to that in a minute too. These are best for humidifying inside, obviously. Now these, I'm sure everybody's probably seen these before. I like them. Like I say, they are good humidifiers. There's the, maybe you can read that. And all it is, in case you haven't seen one, is you pop the thing open, and it's got, I think that's clay inside of there. Pop it open. I run, you know, the sink full of water, or water deeper than it. Drop it down in the water. You may have to hold it in the water until some water gets in there because it's full of air, you know, if it's dry. Hold it down in there with your finger. You'll see bubbles come out. And eventually you'll notice when you pull it up out of the water, it's a lot heavier than it was. But hold it underwater. Keep it immersed in water until no more bubbles. You even can push it down, try to force air out of it. And when you let off of it, of course, it sucks water in place. Okay, once you get that, wipe it out and close the lid. Now, every one of these I ever bought, you see 2 holes in the lid there. Every one of these I ever bought, I either enlarge those holes, because I think they're too little on most of the new ones that I've seen. When you go to the store and buy one of these, they're all too little, in my opinion. So I like to ream the holes out a little bit bigger. Sometimes I even cut, you know, more holes, 4 of them, or 6, or whatever. 1 in the middle. And a lot of times I do that with these. But, you know, a couple of these in your case, and you're pretty well set for humidifying the outside of the guitar. Now the inside doesn't need it all that much as often, unless the guitar has really been dried out. Here's one. Kaiser Lifeguard, I think, is pretty good. It's got a sponge inside of this area, okay? You just hold this underwater and kind of squeeze it and let it up, squeeze it and let it up until that sponge inside there is soaked full of water. Turn it upside down and squeeze all of the excess out of it you can possibly get. Wipe the entire thing off, completely dry. You can even hold it underwater and do that until you get the sponge as much as it'll hold. Then wring it out, dry it off. And it has these little lips here, if you can see. It fits several different size sound holes, which is, I admire that. They put some thought into that. Anyways, you put that in the guitar hole and fix it in there, and that seals the inside of the guitar. Now this is not very good to get your humidity up if it's really low, you know, inside the guitar. It is good to maintain your humidity inside the guitar, to maintain it, and maybe bring it up a little bit if the guitar is, you know, a little dry. But they have their purposes. I like them. It's a good idea, and it's, you know, like I say, once you get the humidity inside up to where it should be, this is a good way to go. It's a good way to roll, especially if you're on the road and you're traveling a lot, you know, and you don't have time to properly humidify your guitar the way it should be. Now, a really cheap alternative, and it works as good, if not better, than these do. And all it is a kitchen sponge, a tiny little kitchen sponge, and a Ziploc bag. I mean, you're probably talking not even 3 cents, maybe a nickel at the very most. Okay? Just cut your sponge out to fit whatever size Ziploc bag you're going to use. And now these, I slit slits in them you know, so the moisture can get out. I just zip the whole thing up with those slits in it. I can hold them underwater and squeeze them, let them go. Hold them underwater and squeeze them and let them go. And finally they will soften up and absorb, you know, saturate themselves in water. Same thing, you want to wring them out good. Dry this whole thing off. Make sure you got all the water out of all of this stuff too, so it doesn't drip or you know, leak inside of your instrument. These are great for humidifying inside the guitar, or I can do that to them, squeeze them out, dry them off, lay a couple of them in your case. They're great for doing the outside of your guitar. And like I say, they don't cost anything. Next to nothing. Now, let's say your guitar is starving for water. Dehydrated, big time. And I get them in here like that all the time. Completely dried out. One of you subscribers, I'm not sure if I even know your username, emailed me with a guitar, an arch top. And the top of it was sunk in really bad. I mean, he sent me pictures of it, and it was just, I could tell from the pictures, man, it was dying for water. And I told him, explained to him, you know, how to, it had F-holes, and like I say, it was an arch top. Told him how to get, you know, some humidification, something down inside of it. These dampets are really good for that because they fit right down in the F-holes really easy. But I told him, you know, how to get water humidification inside of it, and I told him, you know, put it in a case or whatever, put something like this or some kind of humidifiers, something outside of the guitar in the case with the case sealed up and the F-hole sealed off with those humidifiers inside there. And it wasn't, man, I don't know, 3 days he emailed me back and said he couldn't believe his eyes, that it had almost straightened itself out completely, and it probably will completely eventually. Of course, you'd have to loosen the strings, take the bridge off, and all that top pressure off the way. You would want, you know, that taken off of it before you attempted this. And but anyway, he did that, and I guess it, you know, pretty much fixed his guitar. All right, here's another good idea. If your guitar is super dry, like the guy I was just telling you about, I wish I could remember your name. Thanks for watching, dude. I'm glad that helped, by the way. Take some kind of a bowl that will fit into the sound hole. Now this is a little bit wide, but I can squeeze it together and get it to fit in there really nicely. And just take a cloth. This is dry right now, but take a cloth and get it soaking wet. Wring it out. And you can leave quite a bit of water in this cloth, a lot more than you normally do. Put it in the bowl, squeeze the bowl a little or whatever you got to do to get that down in that sound hole, and slide it way back into the back. And then if you have one of these, put that over the sound hole, or if you have one of these, put that over the sound hole, and leave that thing in there for 2 or 3 days. You might want to check it every day, but I would at least give it a couple or 3 days and then check it for sure. You're going to see a difference in your guitar. You're going to see, you know, especially if it has damage to it. It won't completely fix it, but it does an awful good job, I think. Now, here's a cheap hydrometer. You can get them a lot cheaper than this. I used the guts out of this thing. Its humidity is 67% in here right now. And the temperature is 61. I don't know, man, if you're seeing that or not. Maybe there, I think a little bit. This is just some cheap hydrometer I found with a thermometer in it. It had an indoor, outdoor bunch of crap. I didn't need that, so I clipped the wire off. Got a battery in it. I can also, I got it, so I got one that I could fit down into the sound hole. So I can tell by the reading really close to what the humidity inside that body is. You can put it in the case and tell, same thing, you know, what the humidity is in your case. I suggest you get one. It doesn't have to be a real expensive one, but get a moderately recognized one, you know, that you can kind of semi-count. It'll be close, you know what I'm saying? Get 2 or 3 of them if you like. Put, you know, one inside the guitar when you have the sound hole blocked off and you're humidifying it, or you know, keep one in the case when you just have humidifiers like these laying in the case, or like those. stick one of these in there, you know, fix it so it doesn't bang against your instrument when you're moving around. But I use this thing religiously, man, all the time. I keep it in here a lot of times when I'm working on guitars here, and just watch it. You know, every day I come in here to work, I just watch that thing. You want to keep your humidity inside your guitar and outside as much as you can, between 45 and 55%. That's a very safe level. You probably will never have any humidity problems. You won't have cracks coming in your back the way I just showed you. And there's a lot of glue joints in this area where the neck and the body, you have a neck block back here, you have a neck joint right here, the neck block inside, you have your truss rod, usually, you know, extends a little beyond all of that. Your fretboard extension, it's got glue. Whole lot of glue joints right here in this area. Now when you go drying that guitar out, all that stuff starts shrinking, and then you humidify it again, it starts swelling back up, and then, you know, over time it shrinks again, it swells back again, it moves, especially if you don't watch the humidification and control it. That moves all that guitar's life. You end up either getting a big hump here, or this area sinks down in, and you get a what we call fall away right here at the body joint. Or, you know, you can even be so bad you may have to do a neck reset because so much stuff has moved. You can prevent a lot of it, maybe all of it, you know, if you do it right. Keep that humidification around 45 to 55%, and you won't have nearly the trouble that you're going to have if you don't listen to me. So that's all I got to tell you today. I just thought this time of year, well, like I say, I seen Steve Harris's video. Good video, Steve. Thanks for the idea, man, or reminder. And I thought, you know, everybody needs to know about this. A lot of people need to know about it because the time is at hand, you know. I just heard my furnace kick on. It's coming on right now. And it's like 25 degrees outside right now and dropping. I'm kind of glad I don't deer hunt anymore. I got all these deer and bear and just all kind of stuff around me on the wall mounted. I love that, but I didn't love going out on an ATV and at 18 degrees, you know what I mean? Today was the first day of rifle season here, and I miss that. I don't miss getting up in the morning and, you know, it's going to be 18 degrees or colder and taking off into the woods on an ATV. Well, I kind of miss it. Anyways, beside the point, I know how I get on this stuff, man. I get to mind wandering. Old age. I'm senile, dude. Crazy in the head. Anyways, guys, thanks for watching. I hope that helps someone and reminds someone. Because like I say, that stuff happens over time. And you get your guitar out one day and holy shit, how'd this happen? You know, it happens to some nice instruments. I get them in here all the time. So, humidify your box. You got to keep your box moist. Cheers. I'll see you soon.